Good afternoon. Dr. Jacqueline here with the Wellness Way Centennial, coming to you live on a topic that we've seen Dr. Jessica and I walk through the doors a lot the last 2 weeks. That's why I wanted to cover this. So if you guys didn't catch the title, today is all about PCOS, as well as some cycling questions that have been a very common thing that's walked through the door. So good afternoon. If you guys are popping on, let me know where you're coming from. And again, if you guys have questions, feel free to pop those in the comments down below, and I will do the best to answer those as fast as we can. So let's get going today. You guys, PCOS. So if you guys are not aware of what this is, it's Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, and this is a common diagnosis. So in the US, about 15 to 22% of cyclic women are given this diagnosis. So almost a quarter, so almost 1 out of 4 women. This could be a cyclic diagnosis for them. So let's kind of talk about the criteria of what this is, because what we need to understand is, first off, what it is, and then I'm going to definitely go through some things that we can do, Dr. Jessica and I as Wellness Way docs, to address this. It's a very common thing that walks through our door, and it's not a forever diagnosis, you guys. That's the very best part of being a Wellness Way practitioner. We know exactly how to address these things and to help the body to heal. So first and foremost, those diagnosed with PCOS, it's kind of a diagnosis by exclusion. So what that means is there's not like a set number of criteria or like one type of lab to run to diagnose this. So that makes it a little bit difficult, because basically they just rule out a bunch of other cycling issues, and then this is kind of the end diagnosis. So I always just say this is almost kind of a junk diagnosis. We see this a lot with knee issues. This is something just more on the chiropractic side. You know, it's kind of like tendinosis or tendinitis. Like they just kind of slap those diagnoses on, and it's just by exclusion. So similar kind of thing with this. Hello, hey guys. So if you have, as a woman, irregular periods, now this could be skipping cycles. This could be having a cycle that comes outside of the normal range, which is that 25 to 30 days. Sometimes these women skip as many as 6 months between a cycle. So those that skip or have that longer length between cycles, that is one of the criteria that they just go off of to kind of label this. The other things that they look for is an increase in what's called androgens. So this is our quote unquote kind of male dominated hormones. This is our DHEA. This is our testosterone. And for women, when this goes high, it can create a couple different just reactions. So if this goes high, one of the common things that women will see is excessive hair growth. So if you think of guys, typically they have a lot of facial hair, body hair. So this will start to happen on a woman when this is what's going on with her cycle. So you could see, chin hair or a lip or facial hair. You could start to see other increases in hair, like on your arms even, of that rapid hair growth, as well as darker hair growth. That is a common thing that women will tell me when they notice this starting to happen, that it's no longer kind of their typical like body hair color. It starts to come in darker. So if you're seeing excessive hair growth or new or darker hair growth, that's one of the signs that your testosterone could be higher. Another one is starting to see more acne. So lots and lots of stuff on the face. It could end up on the chest, on the back. I've seen all of that. The other thing that will tend to happen is hair loss. So a lot of these women kind of get tested for typically thyroid issues, because that's a common also symptom of that. But if you don't look at some of the other criteria and symptoms going on, it's kind of just a waste again of a test. So a lot of these women start to lose their hair or have like hair thinning, or again, just a big texture change. So those are, important things and things to look for and ask questions on. Beyond that, usually they also start to have some type of weight issue. So with the weight issue, usually comes an issue of insulin resistance and or type 2 diabetes. So again, they start to have a metabolic issue to this. A common thing that the medical field will put these women on is metformin. And a lot of them don't understand that it's a sugar handling issue. It's a metabolic issue that's driving this process. And a lot of women don't understand why they're even put on something like this. So again, you need to go deeper beyond, just the surface, which is what we do in our office. But if that is the diagnosis, typically metformin is the go-to on the medical side. The other piece that will also happen, which sometimes gets diagnosed with this and sometimes doesn't, is if they're able to go ahead and do an internal ultrasound, they're seeing multiple cysts on the ovaries. And a lot of women don't even go that far. A lot of women that I've had walk into the office that have this diagnosis haven't had that piece of it done, but they've already been labeled with PCOS. So those are kind of the criteria when it comes to it. The key is to understand how to figure out the triggers for these women. So I always tell my ladies, you should be able to cycle and it does not affect your life. Like, you should be able to go on with life. You shouldn't be calling in to work. You shouldn't be calling in your daughter to school so that she can stay home sick. You shouldn't be needing to take something. So if you feel the need to take, a Pamprin or an aspirin, your hormones are off. You should be able to function and do life without your cycle affecting you. If it is, if you're hearing yourself or somebody that you know and love and care about with, yeses to those questions, most likely their hormones are off. So for these women, it's key to understand, one, where their hormones are, so doing a full and complete hormone profile. Two, to check them out metabolically. Like you heard me say, a lot of times their insulin's off, their glucose is off, which is their sugar handling, understanding what's going on with their liver. So looking at their liver enzymes, that's a huge piece of how you process your hormones. And so all those checks need to be done, which we're experts on here in our office between Dr. Jessica and I. A big, easy thing that if you have this diagnosis that we can advise you on is just to modify your diet. So the key is getting sugar out. So for these women, just modifying their diets, getting sugary foods, carb-heavy foods out makes a massive difference already with how they feel. So just again, that lifestyle shift. If you guys are not aware, we have our Wellness Way Lifestyle group on Facebook. We have a whole free no sugar guide up in that group. So if you're not aware or interested in that, feel free to hop into that group and you can check out that guide if you feel like that's something that you'd like to try for yourself. And then the very best next thing that I would highly recommend that you do is get your hormones tested with myself, with Dr. Jessica, with another Wellness Way practitioner near you. This, again, is totally solvable. It does not have to be this lifelong diagnosis that stays with you. You, again, should be able to cycle without your cycle controlling you, is always how I, approach this with a mom with her daughter or with a woman, so that you should be able to go through life and have it not be a problem. Yes, Colette, sugar is very, very inflammatory. And so for whatever reason, these women typically with this diagnosis are extra sensitive to sugar. So that's why it makes such a big difference to go ahead and cut that sugary, foods and carb heavy foods out. It already just cuts down the inflammation, which helps their symptoms tremendously. So that's kind of my education for today. If you know somebody that has this diagnosis, or you or somebody you love is struggling with their hormones, please share this video with them. Hop again into our lifestyle group. There's great information for free on that group. And we hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday weekend with the 4th of July coming up, and look out for some fun videos. I know we're going to share some great recipes from our family this weekend, so be on the lookout for that, and we hope you guys have a happy and healthy 4th of July weekend.